Hey everybody, this is Cheyenne back with another video. It's been a long time since I made a video, and today's video is actually the explanation behind why I've been missing in action. So as you can tell by the title, this is my testimony of drug-induced Parkinson's. It's been basically a month. January hit like a freight train, literally hit like a brick. My God, from one thing to the next, I feel like it was just back to back to back, something added on to another thing that added on to another thing, just snowballing. I made this video now because I feel like I'm still healing, but I'm in a better space. Things are getting better. Things are improving. I'm not able to talk. That's another thing. So I'm just gonna say the medicine that I was on. Well, I'm still currently taking, but I'm tapering off slowly. Not to bash the medicine, but because everyone's body is going to react differently to medicine. This is just my testimony. So the medication at hand was Risperdal. I was placed on Risperdal due to my diagnosis with mood disorder. I'm not going to get into that today. That's a whole nother conversation. And it's still fresh. So it's a lot that I'm still learning about it. A lot that I'm learning about myself as I'm in therapy. So we're not going to focus on that today, but that's just a little background of the medication. So I was first with my psychiatrist at the time, no longer my psychiatrist now. I was first placed on a low dosage of Risperdal, which is an antipsychotic, to help with the mental disability, not mental disability, but the condition that I was diagnosed with, which, like I said, we're not going to get into it today. But we start on a low dose. With this dosage of Risperdal, I was taking 2 other medications for my mental health. So it's kind of hard for me to tell if it was necessarily improving because I was taking 2 other medications at the time, one of which is really similar. Sorry for the rocking. Kind of the involuntary movement is really hard for me to stop right now. So I apologize if the rocking is distracting. And I don't have another chair that doesn't swivel right now. So like I said, I apologize if that's a distracting thing to you. It's really hard for me to stop kind of moving right now, which we're going to get into that, the tremors and stuff like that. So just the background. Oh, if I look down, I got my notes here. I got the Bible here, which I'm going to be quoting from as I go along in the video. So like I said, the rocking and the swiveling is not something I really want to do at this moment, but it's something that's really hard for me to stop. Moving forward, so that's a little background of the medication. So I had very small, mild symptoms, which is kind of the rocking I noticed. I didn't correlate it at the time. I didn't really know why, but now looking back, reflecting back, the rocking kind of began at the beginning when I had the low dosage of Risperdal. So, but it wasn't something, it was something that I noticed, which I was like, okay, it's probably just a side effect of some medication. Like I said, I'm taking 3. I just couldn't really pinpoint why. I know it was something that I noticed, but not something detrimental. Like it don't hurt. It doesn't, it's annoying, but it's not something that we're like, oh my God, I need to seek medical attention now. Like, that's not, that's how it was. So I noticed little small things, kind of noticed that I work in the office. So my typing at my computer was the coordination of my hands. Like, because so with two of my hands, my left hand just wasn't coordinating, with the typing. Like, my right hand is my dominant hand, but it's like my left hand, it's like the communication between both of them was off. So I noticed I moved a little slower, but nothing that, like I said, was super alarming. It was enough for me to notice and probably attribute to a side effect of a medication, but couldn't really pinpoint which one. And like I said, they're pretty mild symptoms. So what really expedited this whole shindig from mild to severe, one of the side effects of the medication is cold-like symptoms. And nausea. And so I've been taking Risperdal for maybe 2 months now. The first month, I was on the low dosage. Like I said, had mild symptoms. As the second dosage, it was up to 4 milligrams. I can't really recall what the low dosage, what exactly that was again. I kind of forgot, but I know the problem dosage was the 4 milligrams. That's the problem one. The increase in dosage of the Risperdal, I feel like it just expedited, worsened the symptoms. So it started with nausea. I mean, bad nausea, baby. Getting sick 2 or 3 times a day. And when I say getting sick, I mean upchucking. 2 or 3 times a day, mainly at nighttime when I'm trying to lay down. Then my voice went, I'm talking about, it's like my voice was hoarse, but I was also struggling to talk. Like, it sounded like this. And I had a lot of pauses. As my friend said, I was slurring my words. So I was hoarse. I can barely talk. It's very choppy. I guess I was slurring. My friend said I was slurring my words. And that was so. And then what else I noticed was me trying to get in and out of bed and rolling over in bed, pushing myself up to change positions to get out of bed was extremely, extremely hard. I'm talking shaking, which is the tremors. My left hand would shake, my right leg would shake. And it just was really stiff. I felt stiff, like I couldn't extend my arm out. I felt very weak, like I couldn't push myself up. And it just overall just felt like it was not burning, but like soreness. Like if I was sore in my arms, in my legs, it was very difficult to get in and out of bed and move around in bed. The next symptom I noticed was, when you're wiping in the restroom, you make you bend over for the front, and then you kind of twist your body around to reach the back. And I couldn't do it. My legs got really stiff standing up. I could only hold on to the wall. And it's like my hand was shaking, but it was also stiff. I couldn't reach. Like, my body was so stiff that I couldn't reach my behind. My hand was so stiff that I couldn't grasp the toilet paper. I couldn't make movements, and my arm was super stiff to where I couldn't extend. So it was extremely hard going to the restroom and cleaning myself up. it was just, it felt so defeating. I felt very defeated a lot because I also couldn't put my hair up in a ponytail. This is my friend did my hair. I love my friend. She is my best friend. We're going to get into it, but basically she did my hair because I couldn't put my hair in a ponytail. My fingers, my wrist, my arm, everything you have to do to like wrap your hair around in a rubber band was, it was just almost impossible. Truthfully. And I'm a person who, I don't say I do my hair every single day. Like usually I have like a set style that I do. I do a lot of buns and knots in my hair typically. And sometimes I wear my hair out and curly, maybe with a little headband. But I can do my hair. I put my hair together. I look polished going to work. And I couldn't do it. My hand would shake. Shake, tremor. It'd be trembling, like my hand would be shaking, like in holding the rubber band in the back of my head. I couldn't pull my hair through the rubber band. And it got to the point where I was able to do a scrunchie. A scrunchie's thicker, it's bigger. I was able to slick my hair back. I had some grease in the brush, babes. Slick my hair back. And with a big scrunchie, I could pull my hair halfway through. So it'd just be like a little ball of hair in the back, not an actual defined bun or anything. It just looked sloppy, and I hated that. But it's all I could do. I knew I had to do something with my hair before I go to work, because I work in an office. I see patients. I don't see patients. I'm not a doctor, but there are patients around that I need to look professional and put together for my job. So it was just, there was a number of times I'll be shaking and there's tears forming in my eyes because I'm feeling so defeated. I'm feeling frustrated. I got to be at work on time, and I could only move so much. I was moving in slow motion because I was so stiff. When you're stiff, you can't really move. I'm stiff and I'm shaking and my arm is getting sore. And I felt weak. I felt so weak. And something else that I noticed was I had a really hard time putting my shoes on and off. Trying to lace up my shoes, trying to push my foot down and pulling like the tongue and stuff up was so hard. Holding my leg up to put my socks on was so hard. To the point where I just had to wear closed-toed slides to work. On days where I wasn't patient-facing, on days where I just mainly in the office, it's all I could do. Like, it's literally all I could do. A lot of it was just doing things within my means, the best that I can. So whether that was a puff ball in the back, wearing slides to work, like closed-toe slides, like clogs, it was the best that I could do. It really was. Trying to see. Also, I noticed that my eyesight was changing. I'm nearsighted, so I can see things close up, just not super far away. Which, being that most things are pretty, unless it's like a billboard or something really far away, I'm not really straining to see on a regular basis without my glasses. Without my glasses is where I'm nearsighted. So I'm able to see close up, hold my phone close up and just watch YouTube videos or I don't have TikTok, but Reels or Instagram. Like, I'm able to watch and see things close up on my phone, and I couldn't do it. And it was like the most, because one of my fears is going blind. That's like a top fear of mine, being one of my fears for years, like, I'm not afraid of heights or anything like that, but my eyesight's very important to me. I'm scared to even put in contacts. That's why I got these big old glasses on now. I can't even fool with a contact. I don't even like eye drops, nothing in my eye, because that's such a fear of mine. So the noticing that my eyesight was worsening, oh my God, like that was so scary. And all this was happening within a week. The week I got sick, I started feeling stiff. I started feeling weak. I'm throwing up everywhere. It was just like boom, boom, boom. It was like I felt like my body was just falling apart. And then on top of that, Mother Nature, if you catch my drift, she swung by too. So now I'm PMS. I'm sick as a dog, and my body is not functioning. Like my movement is so limited, and I'm rocking and I'm swiveling. Like it's my voice is gone. I can barely speak. I'm slurring my words. It was hitting all at one time, like, dog. So that week, because I was sick, I took off 2 days of work. I didn't have enough PTO, so it took a dagger to my paycheck. So, and I just felt scared. I felt scared. I really didn't know how to verbalize what I was feeling, because it was just something that was happening. I've never experienced this before. Like, I've never experienced my body just not able to function properly, not able to move, like limited mobility. I've just never experienced that before. So I was scared that this was permanent, because I didn't know what was causing it at the time. I was scared that it was permanent. My first thought was the Lamictal. I take Lamictal, and that has a number of side effects. If you've read like the side effects on the description of when they give you the stuff from the pharmacy, the big piece of paper with all the symptoms on it. So I was thinking it was that at first. And I set up a appointment with my psychiatrist to discuss the Lamictal. That's what I thought it was at first. But sorry, I'm still trying to keep track of my notes. I also knew I needed help. Physically I knew I needed help. So I set up an appointment with my PCP. Being that I already took 2 days off, I was trying to find an appointment that was later in the day, that was easy to make up the time. I just had maybe stay an extra hour that week. But that wasn't until 2 or 3 weeks later was that type of appointment. She was booked up until February 9th if I wanted something later in the day. There was an appointment sooner, but it was at the middle of the day, like 1 o'clock. And that's a little bit harder to make up those hours without PTO. So I booked the one that was 2 or 3 weeks away. Because I was thinking about like my paycheck and making up hours will be the best feasible. And so I was I was off of work for 2 days. I came back Friday. Friday was strugglesome. My nausea has settled a bit. It was enough for me to not get sick throughout the day. Maybe take a little medicine to help the nausea. My friend gave me some ginger chews, which helped with the nausea, because that's what ginger usually helps. That's why people say drink ginger ale, because that ginger settles your stomach. So, and I heard that mints settle the stomach too. So I was alternating mints and ginger ale, not ginger ale. See, I done got myself started. Ginger chews. So that helped me through that Friday. So because I was sick And because of how weak I was feeling, I didn't, oh, and also because I was sick, my comforter needed to be washed. My comforter is really big. It's a big queen size comforter. And the washing facilities in my apartment building just wasn't, it's not big enough. It's meant for maybe like 2 loads of laundry, and that's about it. It's not meant for a queen size comforter plus 2 loads of laundry. So I asked my mom to help me at the laundromat. So we was at the laundromat. After that, she just, throughout it, I don't know really when she started noticing some of my symptoms. She noticed that I was moving slower. Like I was really stiff and moving in slow motion. I was struggling. She could tell that. And she was like, why are you moving so in slow motion? Like, what is happening? Why can't you? Because why am I not like as sharp as I typically am? And especially I'm young. I'm only 27. So my mom was like, you're so young. Why are you trembling like a little old lady? Like, what, why are you struggling like this? And I didn't have an answer for her besides I just been noticing this. Like I couldn't attribute it to any one thing and say like, oh, because of blank. I didn't know what blank was. I didn't know what blank was at the time. So and she also said that I told you my eyesight seemed like it was changing, and she could tell like my eyes I was struggling to, like I said, like see in front of me. Like I'm nearsighted, so someone sitting close to me, I typically my eyes don't really need to strain to see it because I can see up close. But she could notice my eyes just was a bit struggling. It was hard to stay focused. That's another one of the side effects of the Risperdal that I noticed was trouble concentrating. My mom was talking to me, and it was like she described it as kind of that I was just looking through her. Like it's like my head was really foggy, or yeah, it's like a lot of brain fog. My eyes are kind of straining to see her. My brain is foggy. I'm still feeling sick. I can still barely talk. I can still barely move. And my mom noticed everything about her baby. That's what a mom does. She knows if anything's wrong with her baby, a mom can tell. So she can tell I wasn't sharp. Like I wasn't together. Like I've had a cold before and I still wasn't. She was like, yeah, you have a cold, but this is more than just a cold. And she was like, if this worsens or this continues, you really need to seek help. Like at the time, it's like I'm noticing these things, but I'm not realizing how severe, like how this is really interrupting my daily life. Like, and so it's weighing on my mind because I couldn't believe, like, it was such a shock to that my mom noticed. Like, it's something I'm noticing, but I feel like it's a different thing when someone else notices too. They can see you're struggling as well. That kind of like let me know how bad this was. That made me realize how bad this was. That's what I'm trying to say, by her noticing. So with that weighing on my mind, later on that night, I guess this was a Saturday, this was on a weekend. Right before bed, God was, if you've been following along, one way that God talks to me is through videos and music. So God directed me to open YouTube. Didn't know why, didn't really know what I was expecting or looking for. But so there's a YouTuber. I will try to tag her videos because there's 2 specific videos that was hitting the message of what I was dealing with. I would try and link them in the description some way, somehow. But so one of the videos was talking about you're anointed and how the enemy will try to attack where you're anointed at. And for me, my friend described this as a ministry, a form of ministry. I'm sharing God's word and my testimonies and my lessons that I've learned and my stories. I do throw in some lifestyle things around the house just to kind of add a little, you can see more of my personality through those videos. I enjoy making those as well. But overall, my goal with this channel is to share God's word through my life. So I felt like my voice was something that was anointed because it was something that helps me share God's word. And like I said, I could barely talk. I feel like that is where I was attacked at. Like, I attacked my whole body. It was like my whole body was not functioning, but specifically my voice. Because I was like, I didn't want to be late on making videos. You know, I felt like I was getting into a mojo. I was getting into getting on track with it. And once a week on the weekends is where I have the most time and during the day to make videos, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't talk. Like, even with the stiffness, even with me, I can just sit here and be stiff. If I could be still, Lord, I wish I would stop. Lord, please. I need to do something with this rocking. Like, okay. I kind of shifted my legs and stuff. Okay. Forgot where I was at. It just bothered me again. Oh, so the video about being anointed, I feel like that, like I said, that's where the enemy struck, was halting my ministry with this. Because I had some other ideas for filming, and it's just like, he was like, no, you're not going to share God's word. I'm going to take away your voice. And then another video was her talking. It was, so the message was to, if you're praying for something or you need healing or you're expecting something, to move and act like your prayer has already been answered. Like it's already been done. You're already healed. And she quoted Luke 17:12-14. And I'm going to read it to you. Let me get the old Bible. Oh, I went right to it. Okay. So this is Luke 17, verse 12. And as he entered into the certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers. Leprosy, they had leprosy. Lepers, which stood afar off, and they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, go shew yourselves unto the priest. So go walk towards the priest. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. So they had leprosy. They were considered ill at the time, and they was commanded to walk towards the priest, go up to the priest, and typically they would want to be cleansed first before walking up to someone of power. They wanted to be cleansed first, but they wasn't. They still had the leprosy, and they still walked towards the priest unhealed, but they was cleansed as they were walking. So they still, as they obeyed, they were rewarded for obeying. They were cleansed on the way there. And that's just like, expect God, like, it's to have trusting God that he's going to do blank for you as you're being obedient. as you're still in the process, as you're still walking towards whatever it is or whomever. They were cleansed as they were walking. And for me, to me, I took that as I need to have the mindset that I'm healed. I need to try and move and function as normal as possible in the expectation that God will restore my mobility. And it was it's optimistic. I felt optimistic. I felt defeated at times, and I felt kind of depressed because I didn't know if this was permanent or not. So I didn't know how long this would take to heal, if it's something I could be healed from, because I didn't even know what the source was. I didn't even know what was causing it. I had some ideas based on some of the symptoms that I read. Like I said, at first I thought that it was the amygdala. So one thing was, I would kind of give myself a little pep talk before whatever it is that I knew was challenging. Putting on my seatbelt is still something that's very hard for me to do. It's hard for me to like really look over because my hand shakes. It's hard for me to kind of move over and see the seatbelt, but I would try. My friends, they've had to help me get my seatbelt on, but it's something that I would try. I would try my best, like I said, putting on my hair in a ponytail. So I tried, different types of rubber band. And like I said, I noticed that a scrunchie, a wide scrunchie, a thick one, was about the only thing I could muster up to get my fingers to cooperate with. I still need to put shoes on. I put my clogs on. Like, I was still trying to move as if I was healed in the capacity that I could. I didn't want to just give up and wallow in my fears and how I was feeling. I wanted to still put my best foot forward as best as I could and operate as if I was already healed. Move in as much normalcy as possible. Oh, things are falling. And then we get back on track. So that was Saturday. I returned back to work Monday. Monday was pretty much just like the other Friday, a struggle. I was still struggling to type. I was struggling to move my mouse around. I was struggling to write. Like, my handwriting is chicken scratch already. Like, my handwriting is chicken scratch, baby. Like, it's not cute. It's not cute. It's not aesthetic at all. It's enough to be legible and do its job and you can read it, but it's not cute at all. This was like chicken scratch times 2. This was not legible. I could barely read what I was looking at. 8s were really hard. A's, like lowercase a's. It's just a few like different specific letters and numbers that I was struggling to write. And my hand was just like clenched. Like, it was hard for me to move has a flow with writing because my hand was so stiff. I couldn't. And it was, especially writing small, like filling out all this paperwork and stuff. It was so hard. I erased, had to stop and erase. And it was just frustrating. I couldn't write properly. I was moving super slow. Tasks were taking me a lot longer. And it just felt like everything was piling up on me because I couldn't get ahead. I couldn't flow as efficiently as I typically do. And with the brain fog, and trouble concentrating, it's like I wasn't sharp. Like, my mind wasn't as sharp as like normally. And my boss noticed as well. But before I get to that, I want to get into Tuesday. Tuesday is where I'm more patient facing. We have clinic, and because I work in the medical field. So typically throughout the week, I'm in my office besides the actual day of clinic where we're seeing patients. The whole team is seeing patients. So I was in the big team room with everyone else, but the nurse, one of the nurses, she was like, Cheyenne, are you okay? Because like I said, I was trying to have an optimistic mindset that I need to, act as if I was already healed, as if my prayer has already been answered, but I was still actively struggling. And that day, I was holding back tears. That morning was tough. I got to work late. It was really hard for me to get dressed and get ready. Really hard for me to get there on time. So I was already struggling, and I was like I said, I would tear up when I was struggling because I felt really defeated. And I felt alone. So that day I was holding back tears. Struggling. And it felt I was so irritated because it was like the one day that I actually have to put myself really together. I actually have to see patients, and I have to work in this big team room and be around all these people, because my office that I normally work at only has 2 other people in it. And we're pretty familiar with each other. So if I was to have gotten emotional in front of them, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But for me to hold back tears on such a busy day, seeing all these patients, working in this big team room in front of all these people, it was hard. It was really hard. And trying to work. I was basically trying to stay as busy as possible. But the problem is when you're moving like a snail, because you're stiff and you're sore and you're feeling weak, and you're trying not to get nauseous, and you barely have a voice, I can barely talk. You're still fighting these cold symptoms. You can only work so much. You can only stay busy for so much because I can barely do anything. So it's like my mind was just, I couldn't get myself distracted enough to not want to cry, not to stop. And my symptoms were so prevalent, it's not that I could ignore them. There wasn't like at the beginning where they was mild. This is like debilitating. So the nurse, she first noticed, she was like, Shine, are you okay? She's like, seriously, like you're not functioning like you used to, and you seem down. And because I was holding back tears, I just didn't want to acknowledge it. I'm just like, oh no, I'm still just fighting this cold, that's all. I didn't want to talk about how I was feeling. I didn't want to talk about the symptoms that was happening, even though she could tell. Because, literally maybe 10 minutes being there is when she noticed. First seeing me, she could tell that something was off. And then my boss came in. She stopped by. And she talked to me about something work related, but then she kind of I noticed I was trying to get back to typing, but set this paper down for a second. I was typing like this. Like I said, it was hard for me to type. I'm typing slow. My hands are stiff. It feels like my left hand and my right hand are not in coordination and not in sync with each other. So she can tell that something's off, but she was like standing behind me. I can feel her just kind of looking at me, but I didn't really know why she just was looking at me like that. So I already had a meeting set with her just to discuss like other work-related concerns. But she pulled me off in the hallway. She saw me in the hallway. She pulled me off. Was like, can I speak to you in my office? And I'm thinking it was just about the email that I sent and asking her to have a chat with her. So I didn't think anything of her just being, I'm thinking she's just wanted me to pull me up to the office like, oh, this is a good time to chat, to discuss whatever the work-related topic was. So I'm like, okay. To my surprise, she says the same thing the nurse said. Are you okay? Like, what's wrong? Like, you're not as sharp. You're not functioning like you normally do. You're not is fast. Like she can tell my voice is really shaky. It's really like scratchy. I'm slurring my words. She can tell my mood is down. Like I said, I felt defeated that morning. I was holding back tears, and she could tell. Like I did before, I tried to, because I already had something I wanted to discuss with her, so I tried to change the subject. I was like, oh, I'm just still fighting this cold, and anyway, changing the subject, trying to talk about the work-related topic, and she wasn't budging. She was like, Cheyenne. Like, she answered the question, but she circled back to, are you okay? And that's where I lost it. The tears came. And I hate crying at work. I mean, it's not something I do often. It's not something that I do often. But I don't want to cry at work because I don't want to seem unprofessional. I don't want to come across like, I can't do my job. Or I'm incapable of doing my job. Like, so. But I couldn't hold it back no more. Couldn't hold it back no more. I really couldn't. She asked, do I have any, am I going to get help? I told her, I'm sorry, this chair is so uncomfortable. I've had this little swivel chair for going on decade now. It has no cushion. You know what? Hold on. Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. I'm going to use my back. Okay. That's not really helping. Hold on. Pause. I'm not editing nothing, so I just have to watch me. Okay. All right. And if you notice, I'm in my PJs at the bottom. I only went up here to look right for the video, but I'm in my PJs. But anyway, so that's where I lost it. She asked, was I going to see someone? I told y'all before, I set up an appointment with my PCP, but it was going to be a little ways out because I was trying to find an appointment like later in the day so it didn't interrupt my work because I already lost 2 days of work. I couldn't take another hit to my paycheck. So she asked, okay, you booked the appointment with your PCP. How soon is it? Like, you really need to get seen as soon as possible. And I told her it's like 2 or 3 weeks away. She was like, no. Is there any way you can get an appointment sooner? I was like, well, yes, but it's going to be in the middle of the workday. And then she was like, Cheyenne, take care of yourself. The work, will be okay. If you need to go take a sooner appointment in the middle of the workday, like, your work will be covered. We'll figure that out. But you need to take care of yourself. Like, put yourself first. Stop putting this job first. Worrying about PTO, worrying about hours, worrying about this. Take care of yourself. She's like, book that sooner appointment. And she let me dry my eyes, kind of gather myself, but she suggested that I went home. She didn't want to force me to continue working, especially how slow I was moving, how stiff, how just mentally where I was at. She suggested that I went home. She also suggested that I took the following day off. I needed to make some phone calls concerning my PCP, get my appointment changed. I needed to take a breather, take a mental health day, figure out what's going on with my symptoms. I actually had a psychiatrist appointment that following day. So I went home. My boss just took over where I was at. And that Uber ride home, I cried. I cried in that man's car. Not like boo-hooing, but like just tearing up. Like, it was like one of them scenes in a movie where you look out the window and shed a tear. That's exactly how that was. I was trying to hold back my tears so much, and I just couldn't do it. I feel bad for the poor Uber driver. I gave him a tip because he didn't bother me. He just took me home, but I couldn't hold back my tears. I just whimpered all in that back seat. I couldn't hold back my tears. Like, once my boss got it started, I couldn't hold back my tears because I was just so scared that this was going to be like my life and that I wouldn't be able to bounce back or wasn't able to revert back to normal. So when I got home, I cried. I mean, this time, baby, this wasn't whimpering. I'm talking about boo-hooing. I just had to let it out. I've tried to hold it together for weeks now. Try to stay optimistic, trying to stay positive, and I just couldn't hold it in anymore. I had to let it out. Later on that evening, I had an appointment, a virtual appointment at 5 o'clock the following day. So it was a Tuesday where she had me go home. She said, don't come back till Thursday. So that Wednesday, I had a psychiatrist virtual visit at around 5 o'clock. Something in my spirit, the Lord was like, check that Risperdal symptoms. And I was like I said, I thought it was Lamictal that was the problem medication, not Risperdal. God was like, because I keep all my paperwork from my prescriptions. Said check that. And so I was looking through the symptom list: muscle soreness, tremors, weakness, stiffness, nausea, cold like. It was just like, wow, this is everything that I'm experiencing right now. Like, everything that I was experiencing. So I was like, oh, like Lamictal has a number of side effects or whatever that's listed on that piece of paper, but they wasn't, like, nausea is pretty common with medication. So, but it was like, okay, it has nausea, but eyesight change, stiffness, soreness, weakness, cold-like symptoms. Not like, it was everything on that list that I was experiencing right there. So I was like, oh, it's the Risperdal. Oh. And so I get on the Zoom with my psychiatrist, and it's my very first appointment with him. Like I said, I switched psychiatrists, so he wasn't the one that diagnosed me. He wasn't the one that put me on this medication to begin with. So we was doing a lot of catching up, trying to see where we're at currently. And I was going over what I was experiencing and what I was thinking it was, and he agreed. He was like, we typically don't have, the patients that are on Lamictal typically don't have any severe side effects, but antipsychotics are pretty known to be really finicky when it comes to them side effects. So he was like, pretty much, I agree with you. It's the Risperdal. We need to go ahead and get you off that medicine. But it's a medicine that's too dangerous to come off all at one time. He was saying we have to taper you off slowly, and that'll be the safest way. So I was at 4 milligrams. He was like, I'm going to put in a prescription for 3 milligrams. Take that for 2 weeks. 2 milligrams. Take that for 2 weeks. On and on until we get to a half for 2 weeks, and then you can safely stop taking it. So he was basically saying there's going to be a slow progression, but it's the safest way. And he was wanting to put me on another antipsychotic medication in the meantime to get started on that, so that I wasn't without medication in general. The medicine that he wanted to start me on, I've seen ads about, and something in my spirit was like, no. Because I really didn't feel like I needed, I don't know what just happened with my breathing, but I really didn't feel like I needed to be on an antipsychotic and to begin with. Like the previous psychiatrist, she pretty much had one, what is going on? It's like I'm struggling to breathe. I had one episode and she was just like, boom, medication. And I'm like, I don't feel like one episode required, like, I don't feel like that's enough to start a antipsychotic. That's pretty heavy stuff. I feel like it would have been something and need a little more assessment to see if that was right for me. So I already had in the back of my mind, I really didn't feel like I needed to have this medication and to start an antipsychotic in general. So when he was mentioning to start a new one, I was kind of like, okay, but I still need to think about it. So that's where we kind of got to where, okay, it's the Risperdal and we're slowly tapering off. But I was still having, he didn't prescribe anything for the symptoms though. So I was still experiencing the symptoms. So I went back to work Thursday with now knowing this, the Risperdal that was causing these symptoms. But like I said, he didn't prescribe anything for the symptoms. So Thursday I went back to work. My boss, she was asking, am I okay? She texted me that morning asking me how am I feeling. I told her, she said, how are you feeling? Do you feel comfortable going to work? Or do you still feel like you need a day off? I was like, okay, the nausea at the time had settled. So I felt like I was okay to go to work. I told her if I needed a half day, I would let her know. If I wasn't feeling that I was able to work properly, I would let her know. She said, that sounds good. Just let me know if you need anything. She also texted me that morning and said that she had sent my case over to HR. And they're going to be calling to ask about and discuss FMLA and work accommodations. She was trying to make it seem like she didn't report me to HR. That's not what happened. She was discussing with HR that I need help and that I needed some work accommodations to protect me. Because like I mentioned before, I had a hard time in the morning putting on my socks and shoes, doing my hair, using the restroom and stuff like that. So it made me late to work. And she was like, I don't want you to be penalized for struggling and getting late to work when, there's work accommodations that can be flexible schedule, etc. Some excuse absences if I needed like appointments or something like. There's ways that can protect you from being penalized and protect me from being terminated while dealing with this condition that I really didn't know the name of at the time, but just my symptoms. So that Thursday morning, I get a call from the people who work with the HR. They gave me a rundown on FMLA. They gave me a rundown on work accommodations. I'm talking to them about what work accommodations am I needing, what things do I need excused, all that kind of stuff on the phone. I stand kind of out in the hallway. I did that out in the hallway, not really in the office. So I get off the phone with them and the nausea comes back. I'm walking towards my office. I'm gagging in the hallway. I'm gagging like loudly, like blah, blah. Like I was really, and I couldn't stop. It was something like once it got triggered, I couldn't stop. It was really loud. There's a lot of people who work in this department. Really loud gagging. and I tried my best to get to the trash can. So one of the other nurses who work in a office space next door to my office, she heard it and she came running in. She was like, she caught me like hunched over the trash can. And she, asked, am I okay? What's going on? Do I need help? Do I need like some, yeah. So she gave me like a wet and like, not wet cloth, but paper towel, like a dampened paper towel to like wipe my mouth off and stuff. And she was like, Cheyenne, if you get sick at work, you have to go home. Like, that's a rule. But it's like my brain and what just happened wasn't, like, I couldn't process what was happening. I was struggling to talk to her. And she was like, who's your supervisor? And I told her my supervisor's name. She's like, do you know maybe where she's at? She in her office? I was like, well, it's her day in clinic. She's probably in the big clinic, the team room. The nurse, she gave me like a little glass of water or whatever. And she was like, I'll be right back. So I'm sitting in the office. I'm trying to gather myself, wipe myself off. My boss comes in and she, once again, is like, I asked you before, was you okay? She was like, you need to get seen. Like, bump the PCP appointment. You need to get seen today. She was like, I fear that these symptoms are symptoms of something bigger and possibly more severe and dangerous. You need more than ginger chews. Like, you really need to be seen. She was like, I'll let you go early today, but only if you go to the immediate care or ER. Like, if you leave early today, you're going to get help. So I told her, I think, I'll just go to the immediate care. She looks up the closest immediate care to the work. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna set this up and you go now. So I went to the immediate care. The immediate care, I talked to them about the Risperdal, talked to them about my symptoms, and they ended up diagnosing me with the drug-induced Parkinsonism. They were like, you need to get this flushed out of your system. Like, you can't wipe. You can't function normally, and that's severe. That's what they view severe. Like, I could barely put my coat on and off. I had the staff helping me because they took my coat off to get like my blood pressure and all my vitals and stuff. But I was struggling to get my coat on and off. Even the people in my job, my coworkers, had to help me with my coat on and off and getting my purse, because I had a crossbody purse, getting my purse around my neck. Like, she was like, that you can't function. That's a problem. Like, that's a really big problem. Because like I said, I didn't realize how severe the condition was getting before, until, like I said, my mom started to notice, and now my coworkers are noticing. My boss is super concerned. Like, this is something, I now realize this is something serious. So they're like, you need to get this detox out of your system now. Like, you need to start getting better now. Like, you need to be able to function. So they sent me to the ER. They already sent all my information over. So people in the ER was expecting me. So they check my vitals again. They go over things with me again. I got seen pretty quickly. It wasn't a lot of people. This is like midday. My boss sent me at like 1 o'clock. Actually, it wasn't 1 o'clock. It was 11 a.m. I was only at work until 11 a.m. before my boss was like, no, I'm not even going to force you to stay here. You need help. So I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, they're sending me to the ER. Can you please get here? So my mom was on the way. I'm texting my friends. I'm asking for prayers, because I heard that detoxing is the reason why she said they sent me to the ER, because it can only happen in a hospital setting, because there's a lot of effects that can happen throughout the detoxing process. So I was super nervous. I'm talking about tears in my eyes. I was so scared. I didn't really didn't know what to expect, but I'm now seeing things are getting severe and they're sending me to the ER, which I rarely go. I don't think I've been to a hospital since I was 15 and I had my tonsils removed and a tongue tied. Um, it's been a, I've never been to the hospital for like an emergency. I've never had one of those experiences, so I was really nervous. I just was waiting. I just wanted my mom. I just wanted my mom. So I'm in the hospital. I'm by myself because I'm still waiting for my mom to get there. They call me name. They're asking me a bunch of questions. I'm just so nervous. They get me into a room, and I'm in the bed. My mom finally comes. They're, checking my veins, getting me an IV, all this kind of stuff. And I'm still just like anticipating some crazy reaction. I've never seen a detox before. Well, I've heard about it. I've heard a bit about it. It sounds scary. So my friend ended up coming as well. And basically, I was in there for probably 6 hours. Throughout that 6 hours, they're more so treating my symptoms. They're going over my symptoms over and over again. They end up saying, it's too dangerous to detox, which is what the psychiatrist said. It's too dangerous to come off as a medicine immediately. It can have effects in the brain. So I'm still swiveling. Sorry, y'all. This could also be kind of a nervous tick while I'm swiveling. We're just gonna move forward. So saying it's too dangerous and to stay on the track that my psychiatrist gave me for tapering me off this medication, but we're gonna treat you in the meantime. So they gave me some medicine. They said the Parkinson's was from a low dopamine. Low level of dopamine. And they need to increase my dopamine, which will increase my mobility and able to move and stuff. The stiffness came from low dopamine. So they gave me this. They started me off with Benadryl because Benadryl has a number of different effects, but it can boost dopamine. It just made me drowsy. Like, babes, they put it through my IV. I was in there like, I was out like a light off that Benadryl. So they had to wake me up. They was like, okay, the Benadryl is too strong. She's just going to be asleep. So they put me on a different medication. I forgot the name of the medication. I'm still new to it. It's long. To help with the dopamine levels and my mobility. So that's why you're seeing me today. I'm able to kind of move around. I'm talking a little bit better because of the medication. God bless that medication, man. It's been 2 weeks since that ER visit, and I feel I'm still having some symptoms. The stiffness is mainly in my hands and a little bit in my arms right now. I'm able to get in and out of bed a lot easier. I'm able to wipe a lot easier. I haven't attempted much of a ponytail because my friend put these braids and twists in my hair. Well, it's braids up here and it's twists down here. Because she was in the hospital too. Like I said, my friend came and she was like, she said, I don't know what we're going to do with your hair, because she really was like kind of caught off guard of how bad I was doing. Because she came in and my hair was on top of my head. My mom put my hair in like a little plait in the back, but my hair was still all over. I look rough, man. She said, as soon as she pulled the curtain back and looked at me, she said, ooh, you look as rough as you feel. Like, daggone. So I don't know about ponytails right now. That'll be something when I take this down. I'll see if I can put my hair back in a bun or something again. But putting on my socks and shoes is a little bit easier. Still a little tough. in some aspects, but I'm able to wear shoes and socks again. I'm able to, you know, have a little mobility and clean myself up. It was kind of struggle with washing my hair, especially like on this side, because my hand was shaking a lot trying to detangle and wash my hair. So showers was a little difficult for me as well. But the medicine they put me on has really been treating these symptoms. So I'm really happy about that. One thing was, also that day. Oh, wait, I went to work Thursday. So it wasn't that Thursday. It was that Friday. I'm sorry about that. It wasn't that Thursday that I returned. The Thursday was me getting my, sorry. So the Thursday was me getting a HR call and sorting out this FMLA and all that kind of stuff. That Friday, they faxed the information over to my psychiatrist's office. That Friday, when I was on the phone, was my psychiatrist's office saying my psychiatrist wasn't going to sign the paperwork for me because I was a new patient. He only saw me one time, so he wasn't comfortable filling out the paperwork. So that Friday, I was told that I wasn't going to be able to get my paperwork signed, my work accommodations and stuff signed. And I ended up going into the immediate care in the ER. So that Friday sucked. That was on a Friday. That sucked. Sorry, I was looking at my sheets. So now, I called back. So that was Friday. Monday, I called back to my psychiatrist's office to let them know I was in the hospital and that I asked again for them to sign my paperwork because, like, this is not just me complaining about little symptoms. This is something that's causing a detriment to my daily life, and I was seen at the hospital for it and diagnosed with it. So I left a voicemail explaining that day I also had a virtual visit with my therapist. And I told her we was going over the symptoms. I called her up and she agreed to fill out my paperwork for me. It's like, hey, go ahead and get the company to fax me the stuff. I'll sign it for you. Like, regardless of whether you're new or not, like, you really need the help. So that's where I'm at currently. Right now, also my psychiatrist's office, I just had a virtual visit with him Thursday. I don't know what date it is. Today's Saturday, but I don't know exactly the number today. I don't know. But I had a virtual visit and he agreed finally. He was just like, dag, like he basically was like, I didn't know it was that severe. So he ended up signing it. So now I have a psychiatrist and a therapist signing off on these paperwork. So I guess it won't hurt, but that wasn't what I intended, but that's just how the cookies crumbled. So, so now I'm in a place where my paperwork is going to be signed. I'm feeling better physically. Emotionally, I'm a little bit better because I can finally see light at the end of the rainbow. With me feeling better, physically, regardless of kind of the small symptoms that I'm still noticing. My typing's a little bit better. My handwriting has never been cute, but it's not as stiff. I can, like I said, I can roll around in bed. I can kind of push myself up out of the bed. So my symptoms have been getting better. I feel more optimistic now. I'm getting back to, move like the prayers already answered. Move like, you're already healed. Keep going. Keep striving to reach normalcy. Things that I've learned from this. One, I'm very grateful. Grateful for the small things I took for granted before. Wiping in the bathroom is never something that I've been like, woo, thank you, Jesus, I'm able to wipe myself today. Like, but now I do. I'm telling you, the smallest mundane things are such a blessing. Like, you really truly don't know what you got until it's gone. So I'm so grateful that I'm able to get my mobility back. Oh, when I say I cried at church, I was crying at church this past Sunday, baby. I was tearing. Like, I was grateful. I was worshiping, babes. Like I said, act like you're already healed. Expect God to come through. That's what having faith is. It's believing in the unseen. Having faith. Because you can't physically see God, but you can feel him. And you have faith that he is here. He is present. He's real. So just having that faith, having that trust in God that he will pull through. And also my eyesight has seemed like it's improved. I don't really know if that medicine had anything to do with it. Like, I didn't know if like there was something that was blocking or like pressing or suppressing my vision. I'm not sure. But I've been noticing I can kind of hold my phone out a little bit further, because like I had it like this at first. I can kind of hold it out a little bit further. I can see a little bit better, like more normal than I was. So I'm not sure if that had the medicine is attributing to that, or it's just God. Because I was praying on it, babes. I was praying. I was so nervous about that. Ask for help. It shouldn't take multiple people to be like, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, it shouldn't have taken me to get told, hey, go to immediate care, go to the ER. Like, I need to ask for help, and I need to start taking care of myself more. Stop worrying about all these other logistics, PTO and stuff like that. I need to take my health more seriously. Also, the power of the tongue. So I know if you're younger, you've heard people say like, bro, I'm weak. Like, when for something humorous. I don't say that anymore. Power of the tongue. The Bible talks about power of the tongue. Your tongue is so powerful. The words you say is so powerful. You don't realize what you're speaking over yourself or what you're speaking over someone else. I'm more mindful of that now. So that's where we're at. This is a little bit longer of a video, but that has been my testimony. I'm still healing. I'm still in the process of being tapered off this medication. I'm still taking the medicine that the hospital gave me to boost my dopamine levels back up and help with my mobility. It's a journey. It's been such a journey. And this is all within January. You would have thought this happened over 2 years. No, this is all within January, babes. Like, when I say hit like a freight train, hit like a freight train. But anyway, I really hope that if you are dealing with this, or if the message of this is the lessons that I learned, of course, that I just went over. I'm not going to repeat those. That'd be redundant, but pay attention to the medicines that you're getting prescribed. Like, don't just say okay or yes to just any medication. Do your research. Do your research. I didn't do any research. I was just trusting the psychiatrist that maybe she knew what she was talking about. She didn't really like go over a lot of warnings or symptoms with me. So, like I said, that's why I thought it was the Lamictal, because I didn't do my research about the Risperdal at first. Now I do. Now I'm more cautious about what medications I'm being prescribed. I'm less likely just to be like, okay, I'll try it. Like, no. Your body, your health is not something to go off on a whim about. Like, no, take it seriously. But also have courage. If you are going through something, have courage. Be faithful. if you are going through something right now and you don't know how long it's going to last, if it's going to get better, have faith. Have faith. But, and even if there's something that you're also going through, drug-induced Parkinson's, things can get better. Please go to the ER. Please talk to your PCP, someone, about getting on something to being seen for, and getting on something to help with the symptoms. So anyway, I'm gonna conclude this. Thank you for listening. I hope this was educational and encouraging. And I'll see you in the next video, which I don't know exactly when it's going to be because I'm still healing and working on things. But stay tuned. It's going to be coming eventually. Bye.